So this is the best part of life. You see the archers, they go, they score, they come back, and you are just making sure things are running smooth. So what are the first things that we need to do? As a judge, you will be getting the match play brackets at the beginning of the day. So when we went through the process, we told that in the morning meetings, the chairman will be giving or assigning duties to you. So you will know which section of the field you are going to take care of. So you know you are taking care of, let's say, target 1 to target 5 or target 8 or target 10. So you know who are the archers who are assigned to you. So the first thing that you need to do is ensure you have the right archers shooting on the right targets based on that match play chart you have received. Why is this important? There is a rule which says that if the archer is not there during the start of the match play, that archer will be declared absent and his opponent or her opponent will win the match by forfeit. So if you do not see the archer on the shooting line, and then after first set that archer comes and tells you, hey, you told me I was supposed to go to target 10 while my target was target 4, you are in deep shit. So ensure at the beginning you have all the right archers on the right targets. That's the first thing, that's the foremost important thing that we do when we go for elimination round. Next, the match starts, archers are shooting arrows. What I am going to do is, with the first signal, I'm going to ensure that the time in the clock is right. I have got 180 seconds or 90 seconds. What is the time, or 120 seconds? What is the time for that specific match play is displayed on the clock. If not, jump up, call the archers back, hold the shoot, inform the DOS, and then we go from there. But don't be afraid to take that call. As a judge, you are in control of it. So the second thing, like I said, is looking at the clocks, ensuring the times and everything's right. Part of that is also making sure they are getting the right warning signal, like when it's 30 seconds, the yellow light is coming up, because if you know, the rule book also allows archers to have that 30 seconds yellow light warning in case someone does not get the yellow light. I mean, it will not be someone, of course, like the clock system has some issues and the yellow light does not go on at 30 seconds and the time keeps going to 20, 10, and then suddenly the yellow light comes up. The archer can claim a 30-second per arrow makeup, and this is again one of those situations where makeup is allowed. For shooting the arrows, he was not able to shoot because he or she did not get that warning at the right time. So making sure the clock functioning is right is another thing that's part of our action. Now, these actions are not very specific to the match play. These are something that we also do in qualification. These are something which also do in the finals. So I'm trying to run you through the sequence, like when I'm in an elimination match or a simultaneous shooting match, what are the things that I as a judge keep a track of? Okay, so now they have shot, 30 seconds, yellow, last arrows left. I stand up, move towards the archer, who, when I say, I mean, let me put it this way then. So after 30 seconds, the clock keeps running down. We are at 5 seconds. There is an archer who starts to draw the bow at that point. As a judge, my responsibility will be to stand up, walk, move, and be as close to the archer possible without making any distraction or disturbance for the archer. Because we don't want to create a panic for him or her and make them shoot that arrow and then be the ones to be blamed for a bad shot. But we also want to ensure that we get the closest view on the release, and I can hear the buzzer, same as the archer. The reason I have to be as close to the archer is I should be hearing the same time signal or sound signal as the archer is hearing. The most important part here is looking at the release, looking at the fingers, and ensuring when the release goes out or when the fingers goes out, the buzzer should have started after the fingers are out. So if I see the fingers going out and the release, that the beep is not like one point and it stops. Like the beep is an extended signal. It's like beep. It takes 1 or 2 seconds for the first beep sound to complete. So what we are trying to look for is when my fingers are opening, is the beep starting at this point, like beep or beep, and then the arrow has flown off. That's the thing that we are always looking for. When the arrow moved out, when the fingers went off. If the beep sound, like I mentioned, like the arrow is moving and beep is coming up, the archer always gets the benefit of the doubt. Any question that comes up, the archer has the advantage. I mean, of course, when I say any question, it's not like I have a red card, do I show it? That's not the question here. So, red cards, the second point. Now, after the shot is done, if there are no violations, there's no penalty that I'm giving the archer, we all move to the target. And in the target, the duty is same as what we are doing in qualification, making sure scoring is happening properly if the archers call us. And in qualification, though the archers, most of the time they will decide amongst themselves because there are 3 people doing the scoring. In this case, because there's a match and there's just two people, so you will be called at the target more number of times. So be ready and be healthy for the simultaneous matches to walk more and go to the targets more and give more arrow calls. Another thing that happens is, and this one, though the book says you can still have makeup arrows, but this is something that has been clarified that you will not get makeup arrows, is make sure that no arrows are left on the target. So when you are coming back, or when the archers are coming back, once they have pulled the arrows, tell them, correct that flip score. I think, yeah, the flip scores are there also. So tell them, correct the flip score, because the flip scoreboard, making sure that they have the right scores is not the duty of the judges, but it's the duty of the archers. And it's important for people outside of them to keep a track of that match, the result of the match, or how that match is progressing. So tell them if they have not updated the flip score that they have to do the updates, and also make sure that they have not left any arrows. Sometimes it so happens the archer leaves the arrows and they go back. They under stress, they don't realize like what they are doing, what their actions are. And you see these things happening more with new archers, someone who has not been to a international tournament, who is there for the first time. We have seen this happening in the Youth World Championship a lot of the time, and it's because they're kids, they're young ones, they're shooting at an international event at a high pressure match for the first time. They might know the rules. Even if they know the rules, they are so excited, they don't know what to do, what to follow. So there we act as more of a teacher. We are actually helping them to run the match smoothly, try to take the tension off them and make it more relaxed for them so that they can have a smoother, more enjoyable tournament. And that's why we tell them like, hey, don't leave the arrows, take them back. Now, when you are looking at it, of course, one of the major things in the elimination matches is the tie. And the reason it is important is, as a chair, what I try to do, this is again, it varies from chair to chair, and this is something which I personally try to do, is I try to keep an update of how the competition is going on and how many judges I need to allocate for tie matches. Now, how do I know how many ties do I have? That's why, as a judge, when I am assigning someone, I expect that person to show me how many ties they have. So let's say I have got target 4 and target 5, so I will go to target 4 and show a tie, then I go to target 5 and show a tie. As well as the flip scores are important. And why it is important is, one, the DOS is keeping a track of if there is additional shoot off or not, and I am keeping a track of, okay, I have one judge who has got 2 ties. That means I will need to get some additional spare judges from some target allocation where there are no ties, they are free, now I can borrow them and come here. Or if I have some of the judges whom I have rested and they are waiting in the judges area to come over and help this judge with the tie shoot off. So from a chairman's perspective and from the DOS's perspective, it's important to know when that shoot off is going to happen and where that shoot off is going to happen. Going in the sequence again, once you have shown the shoot off, for the elimination matches, what is your job? Your job is to ensure that the targets are correct. So targets are correct as in when you're looking at compound, and that's when we spoke about this yesterday, target setup for compound shoot-offs in team events are very different from what you are shooting in the normal ends. It's moving from 2 phases, 2 target phases in one target to a single target phase. We have had international tournaments where we actually forgot to change this setup. So there were 2 targets. Luckily, the line judge was great. So he said like, hey guys, stop, something's wrong. And then we got the phases corrected and then we went for the shoot off. So one of the most important things that we as judges need to make sure when we are going for the shoot off in team events is for compound, we move from 2 phases to a single phase. That's important. Then the next thing to check is, okay, is there the cross or the X correct, intact? I can put my divider or my caliper in the target phase and measure for the arrow. And when I'm checking that it's intact for both the target faces, for both the archers. Because when I'm going to measure in one and then move to the other target face and going to use that X as my reference for the other measurement. So ensuring that both the X's are intact is important. In case, let's say, one target face, the X is there, and for the other target face, the X is not there, what we are going to do is we are going to change both the target faces. This is one of the important part of it, like when we are changing, and it's not just for the X, anytime, whenever we are having a match, if we are changing for one target, we are going to change the other target for the other archer as well. They need to have same setup for both the archers. They need to have same shooting environment, same shooting conditions for a match play. We never give them 2 different shooting conditions when you are shooting matches. So we change for both of them. So we come back, and the next part in the sequence is making sure the clock has the right time. Because now you have been shooting 90 seconds or 120 seconds, and the time needs to be reduced. Either it's 2 arrows or it's 1 arrow. So make sure the timer is showing 30 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever the right time is in the clock. That's the next thing that I have to focus on as a judge. Remember, I'm running you through a sequence. I'm not jumping steps. I'm trying to make sure you understand, starting from the match, how do I play the match one step at a time? So changing the phase, coming back, making sure the clock has the right time. If required, call the DOS. You will have a radio. Just radio the DOS. Okay, target 20, I have a shoot off. Individual match, let's say individual compound, 30 seconds. The DOS will give you a confirmation. You can see in the clock, it shows 30 seconds. So ensuring that the time that is there is correct, it's always important. You might not see that written in every step, but that's one of the most important part of the basic judging duty. That's why it's not appearing everywhere. Ensuring the clock has the right time is a fundamental of judging. So now, I have seen the clock, I have seen the time. The archers, ready, okay, they shoot. What next? Next is we are going to go, and sometimes it happens, they have shot the arrows and they know like it's a 10 and a 9. So they know they have won, they know they have lost. The archer who have lost, sometimes it so happens that they will be like, okay, I don't care, I don't want to go and bring the arrows, like they are too much like, you know, sad and all that. Make sure to push them and tell, hey, come on, we need to go. And while doing it, ensure that you are not letting one archer go much ahead of the other. Like, hey, come on, let's go, both of you together. And you should be the one leading them, not in a way like you have reached the target, the other archers are like at the shooting line, they haven't come yet. But ensure that you move in a group and you are the leader of the pack. The reason we are at the beginning is so that no one comes and complain. Like I said a 10 and a 9. Imagine there are 2 10s and the distances are same. In that case, if the other archer goes and just tries to move that arrow, there's an appeal that you're going to have. That's the reason why we are in charge of the pack and we are going forward in front of everyone. So we go at the head and we say, hey, come on, let's go. We have a measurement to do. Once you reach there, ensure that you are measuring the proper way. Karen will do on the other side, yeah. So Karen will do the practical on how the measurements needs to be done, and Pesilius had said some things about it yesterday as well. While doing that, ensure you have either a caliper and the divider that's lockable and what you are comfortable with. And then, once you have measured, or while you are measuring, it's important to ensure, like I said, you have both the archers with you together. Tell them if they are breathing on your back, tell them to stand a bit out so that you have the space to move around freely and measure, else they will be on your back and you are restricted to movement. You hit an arrow while trying to move around and measuring, and that changes the value of the arrow or the decision of the match. Appeal. Always ensure your flexibility, your movement is there. That's the more important part, right? And once you have done that, the first thing to do is go out. Like if this is the target, take one step forward in front of the target and show who the winner is. Now, it might be one target, but still, you know an archer is on the left, an archer is on the right. So which archer won the match, indicate it with that hand. Now, you don't need to be a Jesus Christ and hold your hands like for eternity like this, but a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. 5 seconds, wide arms, spread forward, so people from the shooting line as well as the DOS stand, everyone can see that, and everyone has like visually noticed you showing the clear winner. Why it is important? If there is a reshoot, the DOS knows and the chair knows that, okay, I need to make sure that I am in those positions, like I am following those things. Clear? Yes. Perfect. Yes. The last point, which is this one, in case if you measure, ensure you also sign the scorecard. So this is a new rule that has come into effect. It's a rule plus a procedure. It's more of a procedure, I will suggest, at this point in time. The reason being, when we are measuring, the archers are not doing that. So the signature of the archer that we agree on the winner is not valid on this point. So the new instruction from World Archery is, because the judge is doing the measurement and the judge is final authority on deciding which arrow is the closest, so a signature by the judge is making it like official that this is the closer arrow. So this is a change that has happened since last year. So that's a new rule that has come into effect, or a new procedure that has come into effect. All right, so there are specifics for the team match play. that happens in the elimination as well as finals round. But there is no difference in the way that penalties or those rules are applied. It remains the same between your elimination match as well as your final matches. The specifics are, in a team match, there are some additional violations that you need to take care of, and starting off it is with the yellow card, the time penalty. What are those specifics? If you cross, I mean, yesterday when we were talking about the team match play and how you time it, the thing that we follow in team match play is we start behind the 1 meter line. Normally in shooting, after the 2 beeps are given, you go to the shooting line, and that's the countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, you reach 1, and then you have a single beep or single sound signal when your 180 seconds or 120 seconds or 240 seconds, whatever the time is, that starts counting down. But for team match play, you start with double beep, you still stay behind the 1 meter line. You are not allowed to go to the shooting line till that single beep and the 120 seconds countdown starts happening. So, in case, which has happened recently in the last World Championship as well, a World Cup as well, an archer moves to the shooting line after the double beep, but before the single beep. That's a violation. That's an advantage of time that they get. Now, whether that's a yellow card or not, I will come to that later. But that's a violation. That's a time penalty. And they need to come back and wait till that single beep is sounded. The second thing is, when you are moving across the 1 meter line, ensuring that your foot and okay, I don't need to show my foot because yesterday it was displayed by Basilius and Karen. You guys had shown this, right? Yes. So it's the crossing that I'm referring to, that both the foots of the archer who is coming in and the archer who is going out, both their foot should not be on the ground in that 1 meter line and the shooting line, that zone. So that if both their feet is on the ground, then that's a yellow card. That's a time penalty, time advantage. The third one is when they're moving in, their arrow should not be out of quiver. Now, out of quiver here means the point is visible and it is outside of quiver. If they're just pulling the arrow out, but the quiver, I mean the point is still inside the quiver and you don't get to see that, it's not an advantage. You don't consider that for yellow card. Be careful. A little bit stupid, this explanation might sound, but we have had situations when people have given yellow card for this. Some of the quivers are like a holster. I mean, holster is something where you put your gun. Some quivers are like that. And what happens is the quiver does not have a bottom. So the arrows are stuck, but you can see the points at the bottom of the quiver. That does not mean a yellow card situation because you can see the point, right? And the reason I am saying this is, though we laugh about it, there have been situations where the judge has gone just said like, hey, yellow card because I can see the point. I mean, technically they were right because the book, the rule was written at that point in a way that if you see the point, it's a yellow card. So there was no explanation to that. But the idea here is anything and everything that gives a time advantage to the archer is a violation. And the last one is very specific for compound, which is if you have your release head knocked on the D loop or on the string, then that's the violation. While I'm talking about this violation, one more thing which is important is it is very difficult when this is happening fast and you are under pressure, like there's camera and everything, it's really difficult to see and register and react to this. So we have to be very aware, very focused when those transitions are happening. The way I do it, I try to focus on the feet and the quiver when they are going in and coming out. And once I have seen that, I just move to the clock and I try to see if there is anything going wrong with the clock. So I am constantly rotating like this. And this is important from a judge's image perspective, because that shows, like, some movement shows that we are active. We have some role to play when we are there in the field. In case, if you are not confident, and if you are not sure, like, maybe, might not be, I don't know, do not even bother to touch your card. Do not even bother to touch the card. The basic principle, the fundamental principle of judging is, if you are not confident, you do not penalize any archer. They get the benefit of the doubt. We are always protective. So unless and until I am 100% sure that yes, there was a violation, I'm not going to raise that card. Clear? Okay, see. So I will come to that question, but before that I need to explain one thing, one small thing, like as you mentioned, like if they don't follow the yellow card and then they shoot an arrow, you show it by raising the red card, and that's like not a minor violation or time advantage or time penalty anymore. It is now a major violation, and the highest scoring arrow will be deducted. So once you see a red card, the higher score goes off, the highest arrow value goes off, and it becomes a miss, and you sign it. Now, that's clear, right? This part is so far clear with everyone, right? Now coming to the question that Hussein, our chairman, wants an answer on. So the last archer is going in. He has his arrow out of his hand. You show a yellow card. The archer does not come back. There is 3 seconds left. He just shoots the arrow, and let's say it's a miss. Let's say just that, right? So how many violations? Like after 3 seconds, the arrow was shot, let's say at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Just an example, hypothetical situation. So the arrow was shot at 2 minutes 20 seconds, which is beyond the 2 minute timeline. So there was a yellow card. They did not follow it, and they shot an arrow out of time after the time expired. In this case, though I don't agree with that answer, but this is the answer, there are 2 violations. So why 2 violations? Perfect. Absolutely. Great. You guys have read the rule book. You are more updated than me. You know the interpretation. Now I come to your common sense judgment. Yes, and that's why I don't agree with this answer, but this is the official standing of the World Archery Judge Committee, and this is the interpretation we also have. But think about it, right? And now you will start understanding why I don't agree with it. When you say a time advantage, what do you mean? You gained time. But you are shooting an arrow beyond the permitted limit. Did you gain any time by shooting that arrow out of the limit? So should there be 2 violations or 1? How many violations did you just say? Why did you say? The answer for this question is there are 2 violations, but what I am trying to tell you guys is, think what your logic says. That's the question I'm raising here, right? There are some of you who have come here for the seminar, for the conference as well. You guys know the rules. You have to start thinking how the rule is applied. What's the logic behind the rule? Does the logic set right with the rule? Because we are talking about time advantage, which is the yellow card situation. But did they get any time advantage? Because they are already getting a red card because they shot out of time. How did you get time advantage if you shot out of time? I hope the answer is clear to everyone. So there are 2 violations because 1, he did not follow the yellow card. So it's a yellow card violation which goes to a red card. And the second red card, I mean, you don't go and show 2 red cards. You just show 1 red card. But that single red card signifies there are 2 penalties. 1, violation of yellow card. 2, shooting out of time. In the score sheet, as a line judge, you need to inform, I mean, I will come to the duty of the line in some time. As a line judge, you will need to tell the target judge, hey, though I showed one red card, remember there are 2 violations, because they get to see in the TV that there is 1 red card, that's it. They will not know there are 2 violations. So you will need to radio them and tell them, hey, 1 red card but 2 violations. Now when the target judge goes out, he goes the highest 10 as a miss, the second highest 9, just for instance, as a miss. So 2 values will be deducted. Clear? Yeah. Great. Okay, now as we have completed the elimination round, now we move towards the final. So all the jazzy camera, lights, action is now starting with it. One of the things to remember is as we move to the finals are more governed by the events and media than just being the judge's field of play. The reason I say is when you are shooting elimination, it's all you and your DOS in control, communicating with each other, making sure the things are running fine and all that, all good. But the moment you move to the finals field, there will be camera, there will be coordination with media, with events, with broadcasting, with the commentators. So it becomes quite a show rather than just becoming a sport in a different venue. So our action does not start when we are at the field of play, or rather on the shooting arena. Our action starts much before, when we are at the waiting area and the archers are being brought to us. So before going to the field of play, the first thing that we need to do is, again, look at the chart, see whose time it is to shoot. Do you have the right set of archers or right set of teams with you? There will be someone from the events team or from the venue ops or someone who will be making sure they bring the teams, the marshals, who will be bringing the teams to you or the individuals to you. Now, once they are brought to you, it will be your duty to tell them, okay, target A, you are ranked higher from the qualification. Do you want to shoot first or do you want to shoot second? It is the higher ranked archer who gets to decide who will be shooting first in the match for the first 10. Now when you get to know this, make sure you put something in, like you can put it in your pocket, you can put it in your arm, like someone uses a wristband, I use a pen or my handkerchief on my left pocket or right pocket, depending on who is target 1, who is target 2. The second thing, which is very important, remember this marking that you are doing, whether that is looking towards the target or whether that is looking towards the archer. So what I mean is, and this is what preference I follow, right? Looking at the target, this is target 1 for me, this is target 2 for me. So if I have my handkerchief in this pocket, so when I am standing there, I can just touch my pocket and I see handkerchief is here. So target 1 is the one who is shooting first. In case if you are turning back and you are touching this, it's no more target 1, it's target 2 who is shooting first. So it's your personal convenience, it's your personal sequence that you have to create. It's the same way whether you are going to use a handkerchief or something in your wrist or your watch. I have got people just before starting, target 1, target 2, they say target 2, they will take this off and it goes in their right hand. For them, that's the indicator. Again, they know they are looking at the target and that's how they are deciding on it. So make sure you have a marker to tell you who will be shooting first, but that marker has to be based on your own sequence, on your own convenience. No one can help you have their own convenience put on your side. Clear? Perfect. Now, once you have decided, make sure to radio that information back to the DOS, because like I said, it's entirely a show. The DOS needs to know who shoots first, because the DOS will have to put that sign when the match gets to starting point. As well as he or she will have to tell the announcer who is sitting next to the DOS that, hey, the judge just told me target 1 is going to shoot first. He or she is going to start the match. So there is a lot of communication going in the back end. So make sure to inform the DOS about it. So now we have informed the DOS, everything is set. There will be someone from events or venue ops who will be lining you up for entering the field. The sequence that we normally follow to enter the field of play. Line judge, depending on which way we enter on the venue, and I'm assuming here is your venue and you are entering from this side. So the farther target first. So target 2, coach, target 1, coach. If I am entering from the other side, it will be target 1, coach, then target 2, coach. That's how we line up. So the the line judge, and then the farther side coach, then the nearer side coach. They all go in, and then the archers will follow. There is a gap, but that control is with the venue ops or the field operations or someone, the marshal, someone will be there to do that control. As a line judge, it's not your bother. Once they say go, you run in the field. Like not literally run, but yeah, you enter and walk in the field. Okay, so now the march has been performed, you have moved on to the field, and the archers will follow. Before the archers go, when we go into the field of play, what we do is, I don't have a picture here, but yeah, what we do is we walk to the center of the two athletes area. There will be a demarcation between the two, and we take that path to go forward and then go and stand on the shooting line. The direction that we will be looking at, either it will be facing the target or facing like the cameras in the back. So it depends on a lot of things. And why I say a lot of things is, where are the cameras, where are the audience, where is the DOS? So in a lot of things that depends, and from where the entrance is happening. Normally you will see that we are looking back towards the gallery in the back, but it depends is the correct answer. Let's assume we will be looking back towards the gallery. So I'm standing there looking at the gallery, like this is where coach, they are standing there. And now the field marshal will say, okay, archers can come in. As the archer starts walking in, as a judge, the sequence that I like to follow is, when they're walking in, I try to just take a step forward and target 2, just a small hand signal to show them like, okay, come to the box. Is this needed? The answer is no. They already know which is target 2 and target 1 and box. Line judging is all about being in the camera. It's all about the show business. And we are trying to be the actors here. So it's like, you know, going with the flow and being that natural guy over there, trying to help. We are there not just as statues without any purpose, but we are there to help the archers to orchestrate the whole thing. And that's why when they're coming in, I'll be like target 2, target 1, and then I take my position back in. Clear? Yes. Perfect. Now, the archers come in, they drop their equipments. As a line judge, the next action that I take is, archers, please come forward, take your position. There will be an announcement session going on after this entry that happens. So the commentator will say, okay, target 1, blah, 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 target 2, blah, blah, blah. So we need to make sure they are on the shooting line facing the camera on, I mean, whichever side it is, like maybe it's on the gallery, maybe it's on the target. So whichever side is agreed upon, we the judge as well as the archers, they face that and they are ready for it. If you see the archers coming too close to your side, you don't have position, you can say like, hey, you can go a little bit side. The reason I personally try to do archers, please come forward and show this way, is while they are coming in, I ensure I am indicating them downwards where they need to stand, as well as the space that I need. This is what I follow, and I'm trying to walk you through my sequence. Do not think this is the sequence you have to follow. I mean, by sequence, I mean the hand movements and all that. It's, again, someone's personal comfort in which they have to get used to. So now, when the athletes are there, archers, please come forward, take your position, and then they start calling the names. Now it goes over to the announcer. The announcer will start saying, okay, target 1, XYZ from country ABC. While that announcer is announcing, as a judge, I do is look on the side pointing towards that archer. There are many variations of this, which is someone might take a sidewise angle to ensure that he's indicating towards that towards that archer, and when it's done, he goes like this. Sometimes you might not even look, like you are looking it because the announcer is announcing and there is target 1 written and everyone can do that. There is no written instruction on this. It is, again, the personal preference or what you are comfortable running in a sequence for yourself. But what we as judge committee will prefer is definitely giving an indication. Maybe it's a 45-degree angle turn, or maybe it's your face turning towards that archer. That's it. But we will not force in you have to have a 45-degree angle or you have to have your head. Choose one of those two, whichever is comfortable for you. Target 1, done, straight. Then he starts with target 2. So I go towards left. Same sequence that we did for target 1 is repeated for target 2. And then they will introduce the judge. When they are introducing the judge, previously there was no cap. So nowadays we are not allowed to have a cap. In the lines, yes, there are many stories on that. So depending on whether we are allowed to have a cap or not, you take a step forward, a small bow. You don't need to go down all the way down. Like, yeah, we are not wasting time. So a small bow, if you have a cap, just open it. Sequence is fast for the judges. We are least important person. No one wants to see us in the camera. So get done with this quickly, and then archers, get ready. This is my sequence again, like I said. So I take a step forward, please get ready. And my hand goes like this. So they, if they don't understand me speaking English, they at least understand my hand showing them get ready. Once they're there, I turn around, look at the field, and that's my final check. I am looking for a couple of things. Field is clear. There is no issue with the field. There is no safety with the field. I will tell you what had happened once. I don't have the target, or it would have been easy. Let's imagine this is the target, and this is where a person was, because that person was fixing the pinhole camera. How many of you know of a pinhole camera? Very few. Okay, the pinhole camera is the X which is there in the target face. Yeah. In some cases, there is a camera that runs through that target. Yep. So the cameraman who is
Another cameraman.
So the cameraman. Boy, it's 3:30, right? I end at 3:30, right? 3:25. Yeah, that's okay. So everything's good, all set. Now I turn towards the archers and I say, archers ready, just to ensure that they don't need any more time and they are ready to start the shoot. And I realize how important this is in Tokyo. How many of you know of Mackenzie Brown?
Yes.
Yes, yes, very, very good, yes. Okay. She's an archer from US. And the athlete's box in US was quite, the athlete's box in Tokyo was quite big. So what happened was she was going back to her coach all the time. And after the first sequence, she came back to me and said, dude, you are running too fast. You need to give me time to walk back from my coach to the line. And I was like, why do you need to go to your coach every time? So jokes apart, but that's why when we start that, we tell like, archers ready, just a final check that they are all set, and as soon as I start my sequence, they will be ready to go up to the shooting line. They say yes, and then the first thing I do is now, giving the indication of who shoots first, like target 1 or target 2, it again depends where the DOS is, which way the cameras are, and what that specific tournament is set up for. Once that is finalized and all those details we run through in the rehearsals the day before. So you will, by the time the match starts for the first time, you will know how you have to do this. So we start with archers ready, yes, yes, great. Target 1 shoots first, you don't need to say that. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Before you go for that archers ready, one thing that we do is target 1 shoots first and target 2 shoots second. Now when we are doing it, make sure one step forward, clear hand, arm outstretched, and clear indication that it's 1, it's 2. Don't go like target 1 shoots first, target 2 shoots second. We have had this sometimes, and then the judge goes, anything. So yeah, be a bit careful that your hands are in synchronization with your mouth. That's important. And after that, then we go for, yes, archers ready. And then we run that sequence of target 1 starts first, arms outstretched so everyone can see and the DOS can look, and turn towards the targets, like not left turn as in face towards the targets, turn sideways, arms outstretched, and you look towards the DOS can be back, the DOS can be in your front, anywhere, and this is again an arrangement that you run through the rehearsals that happens, and let's go. 5 seconds, enough. And then you move to the waiting position for the judge, where it is. Now the waiting position of the judge, how you move towards that, it depends on whether you are in a team match or whether you are in an individual match. In an individual match, the archers will move to the shooting line as soon as the timer is beat. So you don't have the shooting line to cross over and come. So you will have to come back, cross back the archers, and then go to your waiting position. In a team match, the waiting position, the athlete's box is filled with 3 archers, so it's already a crowd. And they are not going to the shooting line as soon as you start the clock. So you have 10 seconds to cross over by using the shooting line and then come directly to the waiting position. Clear? Okay, so when you say script, like so far I have spoken about like 2 things. You shoot first, you shoot second, or athletes here and athletes go back. I prefer saying it because it gives some interaction with the archers and it proves their confidence on me that this guy knows the shit he's doing. Right. If I am not saying this, I can have a body language which is commanding, and I can do the same thing without saying a word, because there's no mic that records our voice, so that's absolutely fine. But then without voice, establishing your command, that's a little bit difficult. Yes, so who starts the shoot is not side-wise. Who starts the shoot is for the DOS also. So when I'm showing this, either I am looking at the DOS, at the gallery, or the camera, and showing this. This indication is going to be either facing the DOS who is on this side and the targets are on that side,
Right.
or it will be like this way.
Okay.
Like the targets are this side and I'm using my
Yes.
other hand. This hand or this hand will always, start shoot is always towards the target. Depending on the DOS position, your facing position will change.
Right.
That will change, but this is always on the target, but who starts the shoot is always towards the archer or sideways.
So what I want to say is basically if there is
the camera. Anything that happens is camera.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Alright, so now the buzzer goes off, the DOS starts shooting, you are at your own position. The only thing that now concerns us is the sequence of events. Things we need to focus on. We need to ensure the clock's running right. While this is happening, we need to ensure safety is taken care of, so there is no one jumping out from anywhere and coming in front of the targets, or there is no one moving anywhere. And if it's a team event, we also ensure there is no crossing or no yellow card or no time violation that's happening. So if it's the team event, that comes up. Else, for individual, it's procedure as usual that we have for others as well. When you are looking for team event, the additional things outside of the yellow card is, and because we are in finals, is the sequence. And all those red card situations, scoring errors out of sequence that we spoke about becomes important now. Because in the sequence, in team event, it's A, B, C for target 1, X, Y, Z for target 2, then A, B, C for target 1, and X, Y, Z for target 2. When I'm looking at the clock, I'm also trying to ensure that the changeover of the clocks are happening rightly. It is not that Archer B of team A is shooting while target 2's clock is running. So sequences, signal accordingly, race card. Yeah, the rate card situation we spoke about earlier. Red cards. Like I mentioned earlier as well, if you are raising a red card, like if there is a yellow card and there's a violation and it goes to red card, make sure you radio the target judge and the target judge knows that there has been a violation. Because at the target, you do not have a video feed of the line. It's entirely dependent on the radio, the communication, and that's why we force on communication, that why it is so important. All right, first end is done, shooting is completed, archers are back. You move from your waiting position to the center of the shooting line, the center of the two boxes or two targets in the shooting line. And you stand there facing the targets. While you are doing that, the things you are ensuring is the scores which are being called back. You will have a radio, so you will be also able to hear the scores which are being called back from the target. It's your job to ensure that those scores, I mean, it's a combination of people who have the responsibility, I would say, to ensure that the scores that's being called out is matching with the scores which are there in the display board. If there is a mismatch, let's say the target says or the scorer says target 1 2 set points to 0 target 2, and you see that it says 1-1, hold the match and radio that. I mean, of course, you don't have to radio right now, because maybe the target has listened and target is going to respond. But if you see the target judge and everyone is moving out, and there is no communication having over, and there's a radio silence, you go back and say, I heard 2-0 and it's 1-1 in the scoreboard. I do not agree. Because it has an impact on who is going to start the shoot in the next match. And if it's the final set, it's a 6-0 or 4-2, that means there's a difference of who is winning the match and whether we have to shoot another end or not. So always make sure the right indication on the scoreboards are there. Once that's done, and once you have seen that it agrees and everything, check the indication for who is going to shoot next. Because by that time, you know if it's a 2-0 or let's say it's a 0-2 or it's a 1-1, whether target 1 is going to start the shoot or target 2 is going to start the shoot. So next end onwards, whoever has the lower set points, so in case of 0-2, 0, target 1 is the lower score and that person will start the shooting or that team will start the shoot. If it's 1-1, then whoever, or 3-3 or 5-5, whoever started the first end, whoever decided, and that's where your, the pocket or your pocket or the wristband comes into action. You know who started the shoot first, and that person or that team is going to shoot in the next end whenever there's an equal, tied score or tied set points. All right. So next end onwards, what we are going to do is, once the scores are clear, clock's set, the next end is turning back and going back to that same sequence that we ran in the first end, in the initial time. Target 1 shoots first, target 2 shoots second, or target 2 shoots first, target 1 shoots second, indicate, and then turn around, show the arm to the DOS, like target 1 is starting or target 2 is starting, and then towards the field, go. The only difference that starts happening from the end of second end is the runner starts coming back, bringing the arrows back. So just to highlight this point, you don't need to, keep your fingers there for the entire time. But also you don't need to make it and you go out. It's like you show it, 1, 2, 3, it's a 9, 1, 2, 3. So when you are saying it is a 9 for that period of 3 seconds, that's fine. So that duration is important because it's not supposed to be too long, but it's supposed to be 2-3 seconds, so it's registered in the camera as well. Now, once the shooting for that end is done, the next thing is, are there any penalties? And like I said, if there is a red card, you will not know of that red card unless and until you have been told by the line judge. Now, if the line judge has told you there is a penalty, you go and deduct the higher score. In case you have got 7 arrows, right? Then again, it's your duty to identify those 6 arrows and then take the higher score out. So all those procedure comes down here. Like one shooting end, it will be your duty to take care of the penalty. We are still on the target field, the target setup, the dais where the targets are. Anything that we are settling, it has to be settled when the target, at the target. So you have the two targets. Let's imagine the 2 targets are there. You have called this one, you have called this one, the blind is over there. Once you have called it, you go and do the correction, penalties, whatever you have to do, and then you move to the furthest end from the blind and outside of the camera. So the camera will be capturing the targets. You ensure you are outside of the camera. Now, once that's done, ensure everyone has left. The scorer goes out as soon as the calling of the arrows are done. They are out. During that period, the agents will be taking out the arrows, marking the arrow holes, whatever they want to do. Once it's done, they will go by themselves or chase them out. And you will be the last person who will be going out from there. The agents will do the flipboard. If they have not, call them back and let them. Now, when I say call them back, it's not like they have gone to the blind and you are calling them back from the blind. You can change them. But if they are still on the floor or just leaving and you see it's not done, hey, you need to fix the flipboard. Now, once that's done, go back to the blind. And in the blind, it's again the same procedure. The scorer sits in the middle, the 2 agents are there. Start the shoot, make sure the proper shooting sequence is done, the arrows are being scored, and all that. Now, once the final end is shot, and that's where, again, the important starts coming up. You move to the target, check the scores, and try to declare the winner as soon as possible. So if you go there, you know already, you are following the score, you know it's a 4-4, you know it's a 29, the other team is at, let's say, 20. So a 10 means a win, a 9 means a tie, or a 8 means a tie, depending on whether it's a set system or whether it's a compound. So you already know in your mind what arrow value you need to have that decision. You go up, okay, 10-9-9, 10-9-8, target 1 is the winner, or 10-9-9, it's a tie. And the moment you have confirmed this, do not wait for the scorer to radio back to the scoring team. Target 1, 29, target 2, 29, it's a tie. Straightforward, go and show or indicate to the gallery or media or to the people that it's a tie. While doing it, ensure that you take a couple of steps forward. You are not standing right in the middle of the targets, because now the agents will be clearing the target, pulling the arrows. So a couple of steps forward, hands wide open, like we have done that procedure. Now if there is a tie, that same procedure comes up. Crosses, yes, no, change it for both. The same sequence run over there. And then if you are changing it, change for both, and then you go back, and then we shoot that shoot off, and you come, measure the distance, and all that thing happens. Now, one of the changes that has happened in this sequence is, previously, what we used to do is, the archers and the agents could go out, and they could sign whenever they wanted. Now, because of some incidents happening in the past, we want to have the signature and the agreement of the archer agents on the target itself. So like I said, these are the two targets. As a target judge, I stand on the other side, and the blind is on this side. For the last end, if it is a decider, or after the shoot-off, whenever that final winner is decided, we go and stand on the other side of the field, which is towards the blind. And this is to ensure the scorer comes in, and if we see the agents coming before the scorer, stop. We hold the scorers here, and we get the signatures and the score sheets figured out in the podium itself. The reason for doing this is, we have seen people going back in the blind and then saying we don't agree with the score, and that's something we want to avoid. The reason for moving it out from the targets is, while we are doing this, the next match, the people for next match can come in and fix the target faces, get the target set up ready for the next match. That's why we come on the last end, we come on the other side, and we hold the teams or the agents on that point. In case, if there is a tie, like I said in the first point, if you are measuring, make sure you sign the score sheet, because you are the one who are saying this result is official. It's not the archers, agents, or others. They need their signature, but it's your signature that decides it's final. Thank you.